We gotta talk. A lot of men seem to think that Donald Trump is some kind of tough guy. He's not. I mean, look at him. He wears more makeup than Dolly Parton. He whines like a baby. The guy's afraid of birds.
And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
Just when you think the chaos dial can't go any higher, the internet wakes up to Dave Bautista casually turning the political arena into a full-blown cinematic demolition. No costumes, no special effects, just raw, unfiltered verbal takedowns that hit harder than any blockbuster stunt. 1 minute everything looks routine, the next timelines are choking on shock, memes are detonating everywhere, and the whole feed feels like it's bracing for impact. So what lit the fuse? And why is everyone suddenly choosing sides like this as WrestleMania fused with election season? Buckle up. This collision doesn't just make noise. It shakes the room.
Thing that Donald Trump has ever done has divided this country. America will only be great if you vote for me. And that's bullshit. It's not making America great. It's making Donald Trump great. Vote for me so I can pardon myself, do anything I want, get away with it. Just a regular guy. But when I look up the definition of narcissist, this is who people want.
Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you don't want to blink during this one. It all began the way these digital avalanches always do. Quietly, almost boringly normal, until suddenly the entire internet snapped to attention. Dave Bautista, former wrestling powerhouse, Hollywood's armored tank. And now, an accidental political wrecking ball came swinging through the culture like a designer-shaded hurricane. 1 second everything was calm. The next, timelines were rattling like someone dropped a grenade into the group chat.
Donald Trump had his daddy pay a doctor to say his little feet hurt so he could dodge the draft. Look at that gut, like a garbage bag full of buttermilk. He sells imaginary baseball cards pretending to be a cowboy fireman. Guy's barely strong enough to hold an umbrella. I mean, look how he drinks water. Like a little pink chickadee.
Dave Bautista didn't enter the conversation. He blew the door off its hinges, brushed the splinters off his shoulders, and announced that this was not going to be one of those gentle, PR-polished celebrity political tiptoes. This was full-force Bautista mode, loud, direct, and impossible to ignore.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You think it's
I don't think you, I mean, I don't know for sure. I haven't spoken to him about this. I haven't heard him talk politics or presidential race. But, you know, I've heard it mentioned to me a couple times as kind of a joke. I thought it was a joke anyway. But, he'd make a much better president than Donald Trump. But I've said that before. Because he's a smart individual, and I think when it comes down to it, he's just he's a decent human being, which I don't believe Trump is.
This wasn't commentary. It was a full-bodied, chest-out mic-drop collision between blockbuster bravado and political theater. And the timing? Impeccable in that end of empire. Everything's in fire kind of way. Trump had already turned the political landscape into a friending reality show rerun, complete with cliffhangers, plot holes, recycled drama, and a supporting cast that rotates faster than a Netflix algorithm on autopilot.
34 felonies. It was rigged. Guilty of fraud because it was rigged. I know why he's so proud. Turning over Roe versus Wade, and the reason is because he's a massive piece of shit. This dude got laughed out of the United Nations. I mean, that says a lot. It's gotta be the system's rigged. I hate Taylor Swift in all capital letters. Who's more American than Taylor Swift? Nobody. Talking about Governor Whitmer, who was asking for federal help. He wouldn't return her phone call because she hurt his feelings. Can you think of anything more un-American? Shit all over Obamacare, promising that any...
The audience was exhausted. The critics were louder than ever. And Trump's loyalists were planted in place like unmovable lawn chairs at a tailgate, refusing to budge an inch. Then Bautista showed up, not as a cameo, but as a plot twist. The writers definitely did not run past the network. He flipped the entire energy upside down with the confidence of a man who's been booed by 80,000 people in an arena and walked out smiling. This wasn't a polished Hollywood statement dipped in PR foam and released at a strategic moment. This felt raw. It felt irritated. It felt like the kind of thing you blurt out after watching the same circus act for the 1,000th time and finally deciding to grab the megaphone. Instead of quietly changing the channel and The internet picked up on that vibe immediately. Not the rehearsed kind, the feed up I've been sitting on this for years kind of energy. What followed was a reaction loop. So predictable it practically wrote itself. Supporters clutched their digital pearls. Critics launched virtual fireworks. Commentators scrambled for relevance like pigeons fighting over a single French fry, and Bautista, he stood there like a tank that had already decided it was rolling forward, no matter who or what was standing in the road. This wasn't about persuasion. This wasn't about winning hearts and minds. This was about planting a flag, crossing his arms, and daring the storm to try him. The irony is almost poetic. Trump built his entire political persona on spectacle, swagger, and the myth of the indestructible strongman. Then along comes an actual giant, a man whose entire career is built on physical domination, cinematic intimidation, and unapologetic confidence. And suddenly, the strongman storyline starts to wobble like a prop held together with duct tape. Net.
Big ones, like Dolly Parton. He cheats at golf. He creeps around beauty pageant dressing rooms. You know that little dance he does? He looks like he's jacking off a pair of giraffes. He's moody, he pouts, he throws tantrums.
No, get those lights off!
He acts like a 5-year-old behind the wheel of a truck. He bends over for Putin. He's cattier on social media than a middle school mean girl. The guy needs help walking.
Because one of them is a character built on branding, volume, and stage lights, and the other is a walking symbol of controlled chaos, who learned a long time ago how to take real hits and keep moving. Bautista didn't have to raise his voice. The contrast did the shouting for him. One man thrives on the performance of power. The other operates on the reality of it. One feeds off rallies, chants, and slogan mirth. The other runs on discipline, repetition, and the kind of quiet grit that doesn't need a spotlight to stay alive. When those two energies collide, it doesn't explode, it exposes, and the internet, being the internet, instantly fractured into the usual camps edits of giant Bautista swatting away tiny political egos like houseflies. WrestleMania mashups featuring red hats sailing into the stands. Guardians of the Galaxy clips remixed into rogue political commentary as if Star-Lord had just endorsed a ballot initiative. There was no pause for context, no moment for substance. Why would there be? Viral velocity always outruns nuance, but buried underneath the GIFs, memes. And digital fireworks was something far more uncomfortable. Simmering, Bautista wasn't doing the celebrity-neutral tap dance. He wasn't performing the polite bipartisan gymnastics routine. He chose a direction and sprinted full force. No hesitation, no apology, no looking over his shoulder, and that, more than the memes or the spectacle, is what rattled people the most.
Yeah, Dwayne is very patriotic. I think he loves his country. He do what's best for his country. Again, I don't think Trump is a patriot by any means. I think once Trump is out of office, I think things are going to tighten up. And the NRA won't have so much, say in what we do. I hope, but who knows? I mean, I'm also one of those people who said that, Trump, no fucking way is he ever going to be president of the United States.
In a celebrity culture built on staying vaguely likable to everyone, while committing to absolutely nothing. Bautista doing the opposite felt almost rebellious. Meanwhile, Trump continues to sit at the center of every political storm like an unavoidable gravitational force. You can't scroll through American pop culture without him stumbling into the frame somehow. He's turned political gravity into a trampoline. Every hit just bounces him back higher, louder, and even more polarizing. But even gravity has limits when something with enough mass starts pushing in the opposite direction. And Bautista didn't just knock on the door, he put his full cinematic weight behind it and sent it flying. What made the whole moment sting wasn't the criticism itself. It was his refusal to play the predictable celebrity game. No backtracking, no apology tour, no clarification crafted by a publicist, no sudden pivot to a safe, neutral, both-sides sermon. Written by a room full of brand managers, Bautista stood firm, like someone who had already done the math, weighed the backlash, and accepted the consequences before he even opened his mouth. Hollywood watched closely, not because the opinion shocked them, but because they understood the risk behind it. Studios adore bold action heroes. They adore political controversy too, but only as long as the controversy stays profitable in every direction.
In a TikTok video posted after their interview, The Undertaker real name Mark William Calloway, says you can either pick Kane, Donald Trump, and himself, or Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and Dave Bautista. Trump adds, the choice is yours. Let's go over why this is a stupid thing to say.
Everyone's talking about Manny saying, you know, with the scriptures, saying that, like, you know, basically the scripture that he quoted said, you know.
What Hollywood truly despises is unpredictability, the kind that can't be softened, sanitized, or explained away with a neatly packaged press release. Bautista, meanwhile, looked like a man who stopped auditioning for approval a long time ago. The fan reaction alone could have powered a small country. Some fans celebrated like it was a surprise national holiday, reposting, remixing, and echoing every fragment of his stance, like a battle anthem. Others declared they were done with him, swearing off his movies the same way people angrily cancel gym memberships they never used in the first place. Suddenly, buying a ticket became a political declaration. Streaming queues turned into ideological battlegrounds. And somewhere in the chaos, a very confused algorithm tried to figure out whether to recommend an action blockbuster or a cable news meltdown. The funniest twist, the whiplash from people who spent years praising Bautista for being authentic, tough, grounded, real. The moment that realness collided with their political comfort zone, the narrative flipped instantly. Now he wasn't disciplined. Now he wasn't principled. Now he wasn't speaking his truth. Now he was out of line, washed, or desperate for attention. Nothing exposes conditional admiration faster than a celebrity refusing to stay inside the neat little box the audience built for them. Nat, Change Trump's brand feeds on chaos, outrage, pushback, celebrity reactions. These moments are oxygen tanks keeping his political fire roaring. Every criticism becomes a fundraising email. Every celebrity calling him out becomes proof, in certain circles, that the elite are closing ranks around their precious status. But something about this clash felt different. Not gentler, just different. Bautista doesn't carry the polished, billionaire-lit aura that Trump's base loves to reject on sight. He carries the grind, the scars, the 4 a.m. training sessions, the bruises that never fully fade. The story of a guy who started with nothing, endured physical punishment as a career, reinvented himself, and fought his way into the most cutthroat audition rooms on the planet. That hits differently when you put it up against political branding built on inherited networks, gold-plated towers, and decades of self-dash promotion. It's two flavors of power, colliding, manufactured volume versus earned weight, and audiences feel that difference, even when they don't have the language for it. One figure demands attention with noise. The other commands it simply by standing still and not flinching. Naturally, the entertainment industry pretended to remain neutral, all while taking furious mental notes. Publicists began recalibrating their what not to say lists. Studios quietly updated risk matrices in spreadsheets no one will ever admit exist.
Hello, Mr. President. Super duper Dave Bautista here. And sorry I'm all sweaty. I just finished my morning workout because I was inspired by you, because I see what amazing shape you are. It's really beautiful. I just want to say you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, Mr. President. I know there's almost 90,000 people dead, but if it wasn't for you, it could have been like...
Executives started whispering the eternal corporate survival question. Will this hurt or help the box office? Because individuals may run on morals, but empires run on quarterly reports. Meanwhile, the public conversation spun into its usual cyclone. Every sentence was dissected like forensic evidence. And now, one of the most physically imposing figures in modern entertainment was using the very traits that made him iconic: size, presence, grit, to challenge the narrative from the outside. It was like watching a mirror finally talk back. And Trump, the self-styled master of the counterpunch and the king of spectacle, suddenly found himself in an unfamiliar bind. Fight back and risk turning this into a full-blown celebrity gladiator match. Ignore it and risk looking untouchable only when the opponent is smaller. Hit too hard and fuel the story. Hit too soft and look shaken. It's a political chessboard where every single piece is carved out of ego, and one wrong move becomes tomorrow's headline.
Downhill. Almost there, Grandma. So this November, let's stop kidding ourselves. Donald Trump is afraid of rain, of dogs, of windmills, Merle Street, and being laughed at. And mostly, he's terrified that real red-blooded American men will find out that he's a weak, tubby toddler.
Mommy, take me home. Mommy, I want to go home.
What's wrong, tough guy? Does someone grab you by the
Reporters erupted with the predictable fury, painting Bautista as just another Hollywood pawn wandering into politics without asking permission, as if the internet hands out those in neatly stamped envelopes. Critics doubled down, spinning the moment into another highlight reel in the endless Trump versus everyone saga. The middle ground, as always, vanished somewhere between meme warfare and comment section trench battles. But beneath the chaos, a deeper cultural twitch stirred. The myth that celebrities should stick to entertainment only survives when their opinions quietly nod along with power. The second those opinions challenge power directly, the outrage machine kicks into overdrive. Suddenly, everyone becomes a constitutional scholar on free speech limits, an ethics professor on celebrity influence, and a brand strategist explaining why honesty is so inconvenient right now. Bautista, of course, never cared to play cultural diplomat. He didn't soften his stance. He didn't check to see who flinched. He moved forward like someone who had already accepted the one immutable truth. Once you confront controversy head, you can't outrun it, and that sheer refusal to play the expected game unsettled more people than the message itself ever could.
Thank you. You're doing an amazing job. You can ask anyone tell you. You're doing an amazing job. It's really beautiful. It's tremendous. Also, I can't wait to read your Twitter today and hear you blame Obama for more stuff, because he's bad. He's bad. You're good. He's bad. You can ask anyone. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's really tremendous.
What made the spectacle oddly compelling was how little Bautista seemed to care about managing it. While the digital world erupted into a three-ring circus around him, he kept walking in a straight line. No frantic tweets, no defensive spirals, no sudden pivot to unrelated movie promotion. Just a steady, unbothered continuation of his trajectory, as if he'd merely swatted a mosquito and moved on with his day. That composure hit differently in a culture addicted to meltdown performances. Outrage is usually loud, messy, and performative. Bautista's approach, clinical, intentional, almost boring in its consistency. And boredom in the world of political scandal is deeply unsettling. It starves the outrage machine of fresh oxygen. Every role he ever played got reevaluated through a new lens. Was that action hero secretly ideological? That villain, a metaphor? A redemption arc? A disguised political statement? Once a celebrity breaks the invisible neutrality contract, every previous performance becomes retroactively politicized, whether they like it or not. Some fans discovered a new layer to the man they'd only known as a cinematic force of nature. Others felt personally betrayed, as if a stranger on a screen had violated an unspoken agreement to remain comfortably apolitical. The parasocial economy doesn't handle shock well. It thrives on predictable illusions, and Bautista refused to provide. One
story about a Dune actor, Dave Bautista, on Twitter, I believe, bitching about the president. I think everyone from Hollywood, or just in the world generally, bitches about the president for whatever reason. And that's great, because, he says a lot of crazy things. So you should probably get some feedback on that. Now, in this case, I don't know if it's dumbfounded or maybe they're not understanding what the president did. And this is the great thing about Trump, is that he does sometimes the right thing, but he always says either bombastic stuff or crazy stuff. And it's just, for me, it's entertaining because I don't really
get a tiger for like $2,000. And I just want to know, one, where do I pick up my tiger? And B, can I borrow $2,000? Or I thought maybe if you have a job for me in Space Corps, because I know anything. I know a lot about Space Corps, probably more than anybody. I know more than anybody about Space Corps. So anyway, thank you, Mr. President. You're doing a great job.
The most fascinating part of the fiasco is how it tore open the illusion of a boundary between entertainment and politics, a boundary everyone pretends still exists. In reality, it vanished years ago, buried beneath campaign ads that feel like blockbuster trailers and news segments, edited like cliffhangers. Beneath it all lies a truth that terrifies institutions far more than any single statement ever could. People listen when unlikely figures speak up. Not because they're experts, but because they disrupt the expected order. Isn't supposed to become a political lightning rod so directly that unpredictability rattles? Carefully managed ecosystems built on predictable outrage cycles? The dust hasn't settled, and in this digital age, it probably never will. The story will resurface with new angles, fresh edits, and manufactured outrage every time either name trends again. Months from now, it will pop up as a footnote in some larger cultural collision, a reminder that chaos can't be contained. No matter how neatly we try to package it,
Dave Bautista, again, he's losing it. He's actually losing his mind, and it's fantastic. So, all right. So we know James Gunn fired, then Disney considered rehiring him. In the middle of that rehire, we saw the Guardians of the Galaxy cast kind of come together with support. And Dave Bautista kind of went way out there saying, if they don't bring Gunn back or if they don't go with Gunn's script, then I'm going to quit.
years from now, this moment will be packaged into a glossy retrospective dramatic music, exaggerated thumbnails, a montage about who gets to define strength, and whose version of confidence resonates louder once the noise finally settles. But somewhere amid the digital smoke, one truth echoed above the memes, the hot takes, and the comment wars. The most unsettling thing you can do to a man built entirely on spectacle is confront him without putting on a show yourself. The internet will move on, as it always does. A new feud will erupt. A new villain will appear. A new, unlikely hero will rise. But this collision left a faint crack in the polished veneer of political theater. A reminder that sometimes the most stabilizing force in the room isn't the loudest voice. It's the one that speaks once, stands firm, and refuses to blink.